And I was struck by how Arab Muslim nations like the UAE, like the Emirates, are tackling Islamist extremism. After the horrors of Bondi, it's clear that they're doing better than us. They're showing us the way. Now, former Federal Education Minister Alan Tudge has been working in the UAE, and he wrote a piece for the Australian Financial Review on this very topic, and he joins me now. Thanks for joining us, Alan. Excellent piece that you wrote. Such an important topic for us. Explain to us what we can learn from Muslim nations like the UAE.
G'day, Chris. Great to be with you. The UAE is unusual in that it takes a very uncompromising position in relation to extremism. It simply doesn't tolerate it in any form and sees it as a cancer on its society, which it must root out at the prevention stage. Now, what that means in practice is a bunch of different things, including banning, for example, the Muslim Brotherhood, which funds so much of the extremism. It means licensing the imams and monitoring what they are preaching so that radicalisation does not occur there. And if any misbehaviour is occurred, those imams get removed. And it means monitoring other activities which go on such that no extremism gets a foothold in the society. Now, these aren't all things that I'm suggesting that we can follow because some of those are really challenging for a liberal democracy. All I'm saying is that their resolve to ensure that they have a plural society, that mosques can sit alongside synagogues, that people can be free from all walks of life is present. And that's determination to see that through and determination to stamp out extremism is what we need to adopt here in Australia.
Yeah, spot on. And you make a clear point, a fair point, that it is easier for them. They're not liberal democracies like us dealing with freedom of speech, so they can clamp down on this stuff a little bit more easily. But, of course, they are Muslim countries and they clearly understand what extremism would do to their success story. They're making a mozza now through tourism and the rest of it, and they know that extremism, terrorist attacks would destroy that quickly. So they try and nip it in the bud. So isn't that a lesson to us? Obviously, there are legal difficulties about speech and how you shut it down. Parliament's been dealing with that. But we can't allow hate preachers to continue preaching extremist messages in this country. And it seems over the past decades, we have actually allowed that to go on unhindered.
I think that's right, Chris. Certainly, if there's any hate preachers out there today who are preaching extremist messages, they should be removed from the country if they're not Australian citizens and they are just residents or on other types of visas. The UAE is uncompromising on this. As I mentioned before, they license the imams. Now, that would be a very confronting thing for a liberal democracy to do and would step over the line between church and state, I believe. What I would like to see, though, in Australia is for the Islamic Church, for want of a better word, to get together and put greater structures in place.
Exactly.
And so that they themselves are doing the policing. So they can monitor it in the same way now that the Catholic Church, for example, monitors all of the Catholic priests. They have to go through training. They get monitored. If there's misbehaviour, then they get removed. That needs to happen and ideally led by the Islamic leadership themselves. And if they don't do that, I think the state will have to step in. But then it gets into murky territory, as I'm suggesting. The UAE doesn't have that sort of issue to deal with. They simply monitor what they're doing. They license the imams, and anybody who steps over the line is removed. Absolutely, no questions asked.
It's been very successful for them. We've got to learn from this stuff. It must be frustrating for you. You've made a great contribution to this debate. This is what the country should be focusing on now, is these issues, yet instead we've got these party political games and a coalition in turmoil in Canberra.
Absolutely, Chris. And, I'm glad I'm not in this at the moment because, it's a debacle going on at the moment. And the only winners out of this catastrophe, which is occurring with the split between the Liberal Party and the National Party, the only winners out of it is the Labor Party and One Nation. The Australian public aren't the winners out of it because, as you said before, you need a strong opposition in order to hold the government to account, and that's in everybody's interest. So I hope they can get it together again. I hope that they can quickly resolve the differences, form a coalition and be an effective opposition.
Thanks for joining us, Alan. I appreciate it. Alan Tudge there, the former Education Minister, drawing some very clear lessons there for us. We have to fight Islamist extremism, and guess what? Muslim countries are showing us how to do it.